today we're going to be talking about coloring fondant. What's the best way and what is the best colorings to use when you're making fondant at home. The fondant that's probably the most easily accessible for home bakers is satin ice. Of course you can get the Wilton at Michael's and such, but the satin ice I think is a little bit easier for home use. As far as being able to color it, it's a lot more pliable, so I find it a little bit easier to work with than the Wilton. What we use in store, we do use the satin ice for the children's cakes, but we use a higher quality brand for our wedding cakes, so I won't show you that, and that one's a lot stiffer to work with, so we'll just work with the satin ice, and I believe you can get it on Amazon. And I use mainly chef rubber colorings, so today I'll show you that. So what I do when I'm coloring fondant is, let's say I want to cover a couple tiers of cake and I need it all to be a blush pink. I cut my fondant off the amount that I want to color. Let's say we're going to do about this much today. Now, instead of just adding the food coloring directly to this big piece and kneading it all in, what we do is we just take off a little bit and we color this piece of like a darker color than what we're going for, and we slowly use this piece to color the rest of the fondant. I'll show you. I'm using a concentrated paste color. You can use the Wilton ones, they work fine, and they're very affordable at Michael's. I always make sure on my surface that I'm working with that I have a decent amount of cornstarch so that the fondant doesn't stick to it, or you could use powdered sugar. So you just kind of knead it in. Make sure you get a little bit of cornstarch when you're kneading, so it doesn't stick. So I just want a light color of fondant. So I'm going to take my dark piece that I've colored and use this to color the rest of it. If you just add drops of color in one by one, it will work, but it'll take a little bit longer to knead into the entire piece.
Looks like a workout.
It is. Now I do want a little bit more color, so I'm just going to have another piece here. Make sure I get some cornstarch underneath.
Can you use regular flour or just cornstarch?
No, you can't use flour. You can use either cornstarch or powdered sugar, or potato starch, but not wheat flour. So this was the color I was going for. I was going for like a light blush. Using this, I can keep this for next time if I need more, because that has the color that I need. And I just like it a lot better because if I were to add the color directly to this, it would just get really, really streaky and it wouldn't distribute quite as evenly. It would just take a little bit longer. So now, got the blush color that I was looking for.